It was the kind of afternoon that made you stop for a moment just to breathe in the quiet beauty of the world around you. The sun hung low in the sky, casting a warm, golden glow across my suburban neighborhood, softening the edges of the neatly trimmed lawns and the rows of white picket fences. The air was still, with just a faint breeze that rustled the leaves in the trees, as if nature itself was holding its breath. I had just finished my usual cup of chamomile tea, feeling the comforting warmth settle in my chest, and I gazed out the window, watching the world move in a gentle, predictable rhythm. Life had become this way ever since Robert passed away. 5 years had gone by, and while time had softened the sharpest edges of my grief, there were still moments when the weight of his absence pressed on me. The house felt different without him. The silence of it, once a source of peace, now sometimes felt more like a presence in itself, a reminder of what was lost. But I had learned to live with it, to find comfort in the stillness, in the patterns that gave my days meaning. And yet, there were moments when the quiet was too much to bear. That afternoon, as I was about to settle into my favorite armchair, there came a knock at the door. It was unexpected, jarring in its suddenness. My heart skipped a beat. I wasn't expecting anyone. I rose. My curiosity piqued, and as I opened the door, I found Matt standing there. He was my next-door neighbor, a man I'd known for several years. Though our interactions had always been limited to polite exchanges over the fence, shared greetings as we worked in our gardens, or brief chats about the weather. But today, something was different. Matt was standing at my doorstep, his usual easy smile replaced by a look of unease. He was in his early 40s, with deep-set eyes that spoke of a quiet intelligence and a kind of natural confidence that made him well-liked by everyone. He was always approachable, always friendly, but today, there was something more in his eyes, something I couldn't quite place. "Hi, Nora," he said, his voice hesitant but warm. "I hope I'm not disturbing you." I blinked, a little thrown off by his sudden appearance. "Not at all," I replied, stepping back to let him in. "What brings you over?" He hesitated for a moment, glancing behind him as if checking to see if anyone was watching. Then, with a deep breath, he stepped inside, his usual composure seeming to slip just slightly. When he turned to face me, I saw it clearly, the anxiety in his posture, the subtle tension in his shoulders. It wasn't just a casual visit. Something was weighing on him. "Nora," he began, his voice softer now, as though he was carefully choosing his words. "I need your help. It's something personal." The moment he said those words, I felt my pulse quicken, a spark of curiosity and concern igniting in me. I gestured toward the couch, inviting him to sit, and followed him, settling across from him, waiting for him to explain. Matt cleared his throat, looking down at his hands for a moment, as if gathering his thoughts. "I have a sister, Rachel," he said, his voice heavy with emotion. "She's been going through a rough divorce. It's been hard on her, harder than I think she's letting on." He paused, and I could hear the unspoken words in his silence. "I've always tried to be there for her, but this time, I don't think I'm enough. I think she needs someone who's been through hardship, someone who can show her that there's life on the other side of pain." I listened intently, sensing the depth of his care for his sister. There was a vulnerability in him now that I hadn't seen before, an openness, a rawness that made him seem more human than the confident neighbor I'd always known. "Rachel's always been strong," he continued, his voice tight. "But lately, I don't know if she believes that strength is still in her. I think she needs someone who understands, someone who can guide her through this darkness. And I thought, maybe you could be that person." I felt a pang of sympathy for Rachel, imagining the weight of the world she must have been carrying. And as I listened to Matt, I realized how deeply he cared for her, how much he was willing to do for his family. It was a testament to the kind of person he was, a man who would do anything to help the ones he loved. "I know it's a big ask," he said, his eyes finally meeting mine. "But I thought maybe your experience, your strength, could help her find her way through this. I don't know if I could be of much use, but you might be able to reach her in a way I can't." His words hung in the air, heavy with emotion. I had known Matt had such a close bond with his sister, but now it was clear. Rachel meant the world to him. And the way he was asking for my help, so humble, so genuine, made me feel as though I couldn't say no. I'd be honored to meet her, I said, my voice steady. If you think I can help, I'll do what I can. The relief in his expression was immediate, his shoulders loosening as though a burden had been lifted. Thank you, he whispered, almost to himself, as if he hadn't quite believed I would say yes. Thank you so much. Over the next few days, we arranged for Rachel to come over. And as I prepared for her visit, Matt and I found ourselves talking more than we had before. Each conversation, each visit, seemed to bring us closer together, breaking down the invisible walls between us. He shared more about his life, his childhood, his work, things I hadn't known about him despite living so close for so long. I found myself looking forward to his visits, to the quiet moments we spent together. There was something comforting about his presence, something that made the silence of my home feel less lonely. Then one evening, as we sat on the porch sipping iced tea, watching the sunset paint the sky in shades of pink and orange, Matt turned to me, his face serious but gentle. There was something in his eyes, something that caught me off guard. Nora, he said, his voice low, almost a whisper. I never thought asking for your help would bring us closer, but it has, hasn't it? I looked at him, unsure of how to respond. There was a shift in the air, something unspoken yet palpable, like the ground beneath us was subtly shifting. It's been nice, he continued, his voice a little more hesitant now, more than I expected, and that was when I realized it too. There was something between us, something more than the casual neighborly affection I had once assumed. There was a warmth there, a quiet connection that had grown over time, woven into the fabric of our shared moments. And when I met his eyes, I felt it, an unspoken truth we both had been avoiding. The day Rachel came to visit was a turning point for all of us. She was hesitant at first, her eyes clouded with pain and uncertainty, but as we sat together, sharing stories of hardship and hope, I could see her slowly begin to open up. There was a quiet strength in her, a resilience that she hadn't recognized in herself. By the time she left, I felt that I had not only helped her, but also made a new friend. But it was Matt's reaction that stayed with me. When he came by to check on Rachel, his gratitude was overwhelming. He hugged me tight, almost as if he didn't want to let go. You've done more for Rachel than I could ever have imagined, he said, his voice thick with emotion. And you've done something for me too. That night, over dinner, Matt and I found ourselves speaking more openly than we ever had before. His words tumbled out, unguarded. I never thought I'd feel this way again, he confessed, his gaze holding mine. But being around you, seeing how you've helped Rachel, it's reminded me that it's never too late. I think I could be happy again. With you. His words hit me like a tidal wave, unexpected and overwhelming, but in my heart, I knew he was right. The connection we had, the moments we had shared, had awoken something in me that I thought I'd lost forever. That night, under the soft glow of the chandelier in my dining room, we shared our first kiss. It was tender, a little hesitant, but it carried with it the promise of something new, something beautiful. In the weeks that followed, Matt and I began a new chapter. It wasn't easy blending our pasts, our histories, our fears, but it was worth every moment. Rachel continued to heal, and so did we. We grew stronger together. Looking back, I realized that Matt's request hadn't just been about helping his sister. It had been about helping both of us, helping us find the courage to embrace love again. And in doing so, we learned that sometimes the most unexpected requests can lead to the most extraordinary journeys.